All right, thanks for tuning in. Guerin, Emig, and Bill Haisten here to chat with you about the world of sports as we see it. Literally, Tulsa World Sports columnist. We appreciate your continued patronage. Keep reading our material on tulsaworld.com. That's also where we do the occasional video podcast. It can be heard by downloading that version on Spotify, Google, and Apple. So thank you very much, first of all, for that. Bill, it's been a while since you and I chatted. Nothing crazy has happened, although something did pop up minutes before we hooked up via Zoom. Out of the Players Tribune, Lincoln Riley decided that now was the time to sort of tell his version of the Oklahoma to USC story. We've both browsed it, so it's not like we've parsed word for word what he had to say. But do you have any overall impressions on first why he wrote it, and then what he wrote?
Well, like I mentioned to you before we hit record, it just felt like to me it was a cathartic exercise for Lincoln to like he's probably said all of this in some form or fashion 10 times to different media people, and maybe even piecemeal throughout his media sessions in LA. I don't know, but it just felt like a cathartic kind of a deal for him to, in his words, on his terms, to put it out there, and then to kind of wash his hands and say, okay, I bet, now I'm presuming this part of it though, Guerin, is I bet he kind of, at least symbolically, kind of washed his hands and said, I'm done talking about this. I wanted to say what I said here.
Right.
And you very astutely point out that he did not mention anything regarding the OU move to the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I did a super quick read, and I think it's heartfelt that he loved OU and enjoyed OU. There's no doubt about it. Obviously, it changed his life.
Right.
And I'll always marvel at how all of that converged. OU in 2014 and 2013 was kind of a mess at the quarterback position. And depending on how you feel about Landry Jones, you could go back to, 09 through 2014. I mean, because Landry got you big stats, but didn't get you the results you were wanting. So, but for Baker Mayfield to become eligible at the same time that Lincoln Riley was hired and began to call plays, and for OU to go from the Tyreek punt return to the playoff in 1 year because of those two guys, Lincoln Riley, I just kind of liken Lincoln Riley's run at OU to Kevin Durant's with the Thunder.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll see if Lincoln Riley goes and wins championships at Southern Cal. I have my doubts about that, but he's certainly in a conference now that better suits. It feels like better suits his football personality.
Well, it's not the SEC. So, and again, and you mentioned that that's one thing that OU, if you're looking at what he wrote from an Oklahoma perspective, the fan base in particular is going to jump all over that. He says the reason he went was because strictly because of the opportunity in Los Angeles. They're going to say that's not necessarily true. It's not where he was going. It's where Oklahoma was going, and he was sort of running from that. That's going to be their argument. Riley was probably right strategically not to bring the SEC into the mix in his piece in the Players Tribune. Something he did right that I thought was important was he owned the fact that he could have handled the departure better. That he did talk to, it was hard for him to meet the team the way he did. He did talk to certain players after the fact. I think I've got this right. He specifically said, I wish I'd had an individual meeting with each one of them on my way out. Well, most coaches, I think, truth be told, do rue the fact that they just jet for when they, whatever school, whatever sport. And the thing that hits them is how the players might have felt about the coach that recruited them jetting on them. So I thought that was an important inclusion in terms of the piece. The other thing, Bill, I'd say is that there wasn't a real outline of the timeline, and that continues to rankle OU fans who wondered what was wrong, what was going on all of last season. That there must have been something, bubbling under the surface, or else the team wouldn't have been playing that inconsistently. And Riley didn't lend any credence to that at all when he said it was essentially a call from my agent, and that essentially became a Zoom with USC officials after the Bedlam loss, and that essentially became my next job. So anyway, we'll see where it goes, if it goes from there. You may be right. This may be the end of the line in terms of Riley talking about leaving Oklahoma.
I think you would like for it to be the end of the line.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I just pray somehow, some way in the next couple of years, we have an OU Southern Cal bowl game. That's fine. Don't you? I mean, what a great storyline.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like if Phil and Mickelson both happen to play here next month in the PGA of America, it would be so brilliant to pair those two, put them together and have them play together. And I feel the same way. It's somehow, some way, you've got to get OU and Southern Cal together. If it's not a playoff scenario, then just wipe the slate clean and just say, whatever we got to do, we got to get these two together, because it's too good for TV, and it would generate a lot of interest.
You mentioned Baker Mayfield, Bill, a little bit ago with regard to Riley's time at Oklahoma. Baker Mayfield gets his statue christened, unveiled, however you want to put it, at halftime of OU spring scrimmage Saturday in Norman. Fair to say that fans are more interested in Mayfield and the statue than the scrimmage, or is the scrimmage, because it's a bunch of new players and Dillon Gabriel and Brent Venables, does that sort of even, tip the scale a little bit?
It exactly evens it, I think, because I mean, everybody's desperate to see, just even in a massively controlled situation, quick whistles and all of it. What's the forecast, by the way, for Saturday?
Rain at some point.
Really?
But I don't know if it's going to happen at, during from 3 to 5. Same thing in Stillwater. I don't know if it's going to happen from 1 to 3.
Well, I was going to say it's Stillwater from 11 to 11:15, but anyway, it'll be a little more than that at Stillwater. But because everybody's so desperate to see what Gabriel looks like, just how he moves in an OU uniform and how he looks on the field, so yeah, no, there's a double shot of an attraction over there for sure. The statue, of course. Has anybody seen the statue?
I don't think anyone has. No, I don't believe they have.
So nobody screwed around and hauled it around Norman on the back of a flatbed.
The only thing I know is that apparently the ideas of him, planting the flag in Columbus or doing something else, or just sprinting down the field, making like Pete Townsend of the Who, waving his arm and the windmill in the arm. I think it's going to be a football pose, is what I'm saying. But what pose? Specific pose, I have no idea.
You know what? Now that I haven't really given any thought to pose options, but because I don't think I've ever seen it on any other football statue, the flag would be awesome. It really would. I mean, and I don't think it'd be a shot at Ohio State. Come on.
Yeah.
Holding the flag with, obviously the OU logo on the flag. What's wrong with it? No, I think it'd be pretty cool and different statue. But, talk about a kind of a well-timed deal for Mayfield, who needs kind of a shot of love. And
exactly, yeah,
be uplifted, and so here you go, come back to Norman. And it's like Sally Field, and what was it? Sally Field? What was that movie where she would go to the mall just so people would fawn over her and give her love?
Oh gosh, I was going to say, I'm going Smokey and the Bandit. I'm going Norma Ray.
No,
I'm going Places in the Heart.
But yeah, she played like a soap opera actress, and she would go to the mall when she was having a tough day, just so people would go crazy over her and
showing my age here.
Give her some love. So I think it'll be a little bit of that for Baker Saturday, to come back and just be overwhelmed with appreciation and affection.
I think that's a great point. There's been some people who say it's going to be awkward for him because of what he's dealing with in the NFL. No, I think it'll be a cocoon, basically. He's supposed to meet the media after the fact, and the NFL will come up. Heck, there may be an NFL writer or two that comes to Norman just because it's an opportunity to speak to him about it. Sure. So I'm not saying it's off. I don't imagine Mike Houck's going to get up and say only OU related questions. I guess he could, but all that would do is draw attention to the other episode. I kind of hope he doesn't. So I agree though. I think this will be you mentioned cathartic in terms of what Riley just wrote in the Players Tribune. Cathartic is probably the right word for what Mayfield's doing this weekend. So
the Sally Field movie was Soap Dish.
There,
one movie.
I missed that one.
Yeah, it was actually a comedy. It's pretty good. I hadn't thought about that movie since I saw that movie, but I remember being mildly entertained by it.
Right.
No, this is good. This is like it reminds me of Mayfield came back to host a camp after his rookie year,
mm-hmm.
and it was like Woodstock. I mean, they had it at like a city park in Norman, and it was just a sea of people. And then you remember because Billy Sims showed up, Barry Switzer showed up, they ran a little wishbone for a photo op. It's a pretty cool event, actually. So I don't know if I watched a podcast with Baker recorded last week, I think.
Right.
What podcast, but he was sitting on a sofa somewhere at somebody's house and with a couple of guys.
Right.
And it's the one that most recently got a lot of run, they pulled a lot of quotes out of that, and where he kind of really, there was less of a filter on what he had to say about Cleveland. And it was really, really interesting though. And I thought the other guys kind of tried to bait him into saying outrageous stuff, and he didn't do it. He was smart to keep himself in check for the most part. But no, I mean it's for guys like Guerin Emig and Eric Bailey and Eli Letterman and all the beat people. I mean, you got pretty interesting copy potential coming out of that Saturday. I mean, and it can't be all OU questions. It just can't.
Right.
And if Mike Out tries that, somebody needs to blow right through that stop sign.
Nah, I don't think that.
I love Mike Out, and I don't think Mike would do that though. Right. I mean, Baker's a grown man. Baker's a grown man. He didn't have to abide by that.
All right, Stillwater. Fans are. I'm looking for the what's going to be the shiny object for fans to chase at what's essentially a practice. Mike Gundy has gone out and said we don't have enough offensive linemen to go head to head even, and I'm not even sure if teams go head to head they tackle anyone anymore. So again, be cautious about overreacting to anything anywhere when it comes to a spring game. But in terms of the Cowboys, just curious to see if they line up differently under Derek Mason than they did under Jim Knowles. Interested to see who Spencer Sanders is handing the ball to, since it's not Jalen Warren or LD Brown any longer. What grabs you at least going into Stillwater Saturday?
To see like who the top two guys at each of the four secondary positions, what that looks like, see what the linebacking rotation looks like. Really, most of my interest centers on that side of it. I guess because good grief, for so many springs and so many Augusts, I have said, all right, I'm just going to focus on the offensive line because they've got to get this figured out. And that's the missing link for them to really challenge for the Big 12. And so I would see now that they can win without a good offensive line. They've been doing it for the most part, since Wickline left 9 years ago. Holy moly. Wickline about 9 years. You talk about a divorce that shouldn't have happened, didn't have to happen. Of course, Joe's the one who made it happen, but Joe's career was never the same after, and OSU's line culture has never been the same since Wickline. So of course I'll watch the O-line, but I won't watch it too intently, because what are you going to get out of it? A bunch of quick whistles and
right.
Football. It's not tackle football. So really just to look at personnel and at least where they stand today with regard to, if we were playing tonight, these would be our two safeties and these would be our primary corners and these would be the first guys to roll in behind them and just to see what the rotation looks like. And to see if there is anything remarkably different, if different at all, with the way Derek Mason does things versus the way Coach Knowles did things. So, but I've gotten messages from multiple people and regarding Derek Mason, and the gist of the message every time, like a high school coach who went to the clinic last week, and he's like, Derek Mason, wow. I can see, why Gundy was so fired up to get this guy in here, and so impressive in every regard. And so, yeah, and I haven't met him, haven't been around him yet, so looking forward to meeting him. And but with regard to real football, OSU got a commitment at the quarterback position, which I've been wondering, when are they going to get us kind of a signature quarterback situation in recruiting, and whether this guy becomes a signature quarterback for them, time will tell. But his name's Zane Flores from the Omaha area. Looks like Trevor Lawrence, and by that I mean really looks like Trevor Lawrence.
Oh.
Long hair, kind of
sunshine
type. Yeah. I'm not suggesting he's got Trevor Lawrence's game, but he does look like Trevor Lawrence. And his name is Zane Flores from Gretna, Nebraska, which is interesting too, because Nebraska didn't offer him, but a lot of other schools did. And he's 20 minutes outside of Omaha, but Oklahoma State did get him, and I bet he's there Saturday. I remember previous committed guys always showing up on spring games Saturday. So that's where I met Spencer Sanders the first time, was at the spring game. So I would expect Zane Flores to be there. But from a football takeaway standpoint, there's not going to be a great deal at OU beyond what does Dillon Gabriel look like, and there's not going to be much at OSU other than just, as Gundy always states, just don't get anybody hurt.
Yep, that's right.
Let's get to the finish line without somebody getting hurt, catch our breath, and get back in it in June.
That's the thud talking right there. That's just make contact. Don't bring them all the way to the ground. A couple of TU players got in trouble at their scrimmage a couple of weeks ago for going a little overboard on thud. So
hey, that wasn't even a tackle on the one at TU. That was a like WWE body slam.
Yeah.
Hey, I was impressed. I was like,
someone wanted to make an impression, right?
Oh, right.
Some kid at TU wanted to get Philip Montgomery's attention. Hey, I heard you. I think it was late last week. Driving around town, you were doing some radio with your friend Al Jerkins, and your percentage on Tiger coming to Tulsa was 50-50 still. I think that's right. I hope I didn't. You said coin flip, something to that effect.
Absolutely.
You still say that?
Yeah, but no, I don't have any more insight, or there's no reporting on, like, okay, today Tiger feels a little better than yesterday, or today Tiger actually went out and swung a club a little bit. I haven't seen any of that. I'm just saying, it's been, because there's 6 weeks between the Masters and the PGA Championship. So I guess all along has been, now that he's gotten out and broken some scar tissue by doing that 72-hole comeback at Augusta, that went from promising to a little bit of a setback and then a really difficult weekend. And you could see the change in his stride from Friday to Sunday. It was quite a bit different. I mean, he's hurting. So my guess is, he's 3 shy of tying Jack Nicklaus. So the only way he's got any chance ever of winning any more majors is to play in the majors. And he has won here before. And so my guess is, Guerin, if he reaches, let's say by this coming Monday, he will have been 2 full weeks removed from the Masters. If he's starting to feel, if he and his team of medical people are starting to feel like he's able to play here, I think he will. It just blows my mind that now, because when I wrote about it maybe 6 or 8 weeks ago, I wrote 50-50 on Phil, 2% on Tiger. Now it's just flip-flopped. It's exactly the way I feel about those guys, except the other way around. 2% on Phil, 50% on Tiger. So I don't think Phil's going to come here. I don't play this year. I don't know that he'll play this whole year.
No, I think, I don't think we're going to see Mickelson again for a bit. Okay, so this is interesting. Let's say Tiger doesn't come and Phil is still sort of, sidelined. He's been shelved, whether it's him or the PGA or
Guerin, your man DeChambeau has a wrist injury, had surgery. He ain't coming.
My man DeChambeau.
Well,
When did he become my man?
He would have been an interesting follow and an interesting guy to write about.
That's
sure.
that's what I was just about to ask you. If you move, okay, now that's three that you put aside. Is Rory McIlroy does he draw the biggest gallery Thursday? Is that Sergio? Is that Ricky Fowler?
No, I think well, no, I think it would be. I don't think there is going to be a single one player who has just an Arnie's Army kind of a gallery. I mean, there are guys, any one of the three who I don't think will be here, Mickelson, DeChambeau, and well, Tigers at 50-50. Any one of those guys would have a massive gallery. But, oh man, I mean, Victor Hovland's going to have a big audience. Rory's going to have a big audience. It'll just be more spread out. But with regard to the quality of the tournament, it's still going to be great golf. And there's going to be 20 players going into it that you could say, yeah, this guy could win the tournament.
Yeah.
So I need to look at the updated odds board. Nobody in the world is hotter. Scotty Scheffler is the hottest player in the world.
Right, for sure.
But is he a rock star player? No, he's not.
Not now. Right.
He's like Tom Kite. You know what I mean? Well, really, straight line greatness with no frills and no controversy, and then, you know, Jordan Spieth is a guy who will have a big audience for sure. And you hope that. Did you see his wife run on the green the other day and jump up and down?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was yeah, for sure.
Don't do that.
You're mentioning Kite was a Longhorn, right? Once upon a time, I think he was a Texas guy, wasn't he? I think
Kite. Oh yeah, he's hooked.
So Spieth and it was a purpose pitch you just made there, because Spieth and Scheffler also hook'ems.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. No, I mean, there wouldn't be a name above the title kind of a guy,
right?
For this tournament, but a lot still great golf, and you know, I mean, my favorite player now is Justin Thomas. Just as a fan of golf, Justin Thomas will have a nice gallery, but it would be more spread out. It would be, in fact. Now that you're making me think about it, this could be a column idea later on, but there's always been the PGA Championship starring Tiger Woods, starring Hogan. There's always been a really heavy favorite, popular player. Although maybe 94, I don't remember. Nick Price was number one in the world, but he was never a rock star kind of guy. But he came here and kicked every butt and won more decisively than anybody's ever won here. Yeah. So, no, I hadn't really thought about that part of it, but
we'll see what Tiger does first, right? We'll see one way or the other, maybe.
Yeah, but I just have a feeling with Tiger, we're not going to know until maybe the Friday before. You know what I mean? They're just it's going to drag out. I mean, it's just like the Tom Brady thing and how skillfully he manipulated that whole situation with a retirement and a comeback. And it's just a way to market your brand, almost, is to leave people hanging and then announce it on, I think there'll be a dramatic announcement on Twitter like the Friday before the tournament starts from Tiger.
Yeah. I'd like to think
it'll just be a map with Tulsa on the map or something.
Yeah, and that would be cool. I mean, if he did that, we wouldn't care how he did it. It's just that he was coming. But if he does that and right before the tournament to say that he's not, doesn't that sort of short circuit the tournament? I don't think the PGA would be too pleased with that.
Yeah, but if you know what though, if he calls them at like 7:00 Thursday morning and says, I'm going to play, they'd say, cool.
Oh, no, if any decision to play is made, whatever the time, they'll turn flips. I'm just saying, if he draws it out and then says, I just can't do it. That was the point. I got to think that I think he'll my guess is if he doesn't play, we'll hear before the week before the 24, 48 hours before everyone starts showing up in Tulsa, but I could be wrong. So, anyway, all right.
We are less than 30 days away from it.
I know.
And Holy cow, we are like 29 days. So
Yeah.
here we go. It's
All
coming.
right. Well, keep reading Bill's material. He's got a bunch of really cool stories that he's already cranked out, columns with regard to PGAs of years past. Those involved behind the scenes at Southern Hills. You want to read his material. Barry Lewis is doing some work. We'll all pitch in between now and the start of the tournament. We'll all be writing a lot about spring football this weekend. So please keep reading and keep watching and listening when we go multimedia and do this podcast thing.
We're going to have a piece in the Friday paper, Guerin, on an Owasso athlete who has become very, very, very interesting. Cole Adams, football athlete, with an offer now from Alabama.
Oh,
yeah. He's in fact, I will be heading to Owasso briefly here in just a little bit.
Okay.
So interviews this afternoon with the OSU quarterback commit, immediately followed by a sit down with Cole Adams at Owasso, who is one of the 4 or 5 best players in the state.
Very cool.
Yeah. So
All right.
Friday paper. Yep.
Look for that. I've got something on Derek Mason for later in the week before the Cowboys get together to thud, as Mike Gundy says. All right, folks, thanks for listening and watching. We'll do this again soon.